we're also sometimes lying on ourselves when people say like, oh, we use critical race theory in school. We don't use critical race theory in school. The first tenet of critical race theory is that the United States as constructed is irreversibly racist. So if the nation state as constructed is irreversibly racist, then it must be done with. It must be overthrown, right? And so we can't be like, oh no, critical race theory is just about telling our stories and diverse. It's not about that. It's about overthrow. It's insurgent. And we need to be, I think, more honest with that. And it's funny that they don't understand critical race theory, but they actually tell some truth when they're like, yeah, it is anti-state. You can't be a critical race theorist and be pro-US. Okay, it is an anti-state theory that says the United States needs to be deconstructed, period, right? Like that's, and so I think it's an interesting argument there, and that's why I'm a critical race theorist. But
Democratic vice presidential candidate Tim Walz appointee called for the overthrow of the United States. Brian Lozenski said that the United States, as constructed, is irreversibly racist. So, if the nation-state as constructed is irreversibly racist, it must be overthrown. Minnesota Governor Walz established new educational guidelines centered on critical race theory and ethnic studies. Lozenski is a Macalester College professor of urban and multicultural education. He was tasked to oversee the implementation of CRT throughout Minnesota's educational system. In a YouTube video, which has since been taken down, Lozenski said that CRT is inherently anti-state. No one, he said, who teaches CRT can be pro-United States. The American people must wake up to the communist revolution that seeks to destroy this nation. The upheaval began surreptitiously after World War II. It progressed unnoticed and incrementally over the past 80 years. Since then, the left has taken control of education, news media, social media, entertainment, major corporations, and the entrenched, unelected bureaucracy. Generations of young people have been indoctrinated in the re-education centers known as public schools and universities. They can't read, write, or think. They have no understanding or appreciation of America's founding or the Constitution. They are dutiful Trotskyites who have been seditiously trained to hate their country. The left calls Donald Trump an insurrectionist. I don't recall Trump calling for the overthrow of America. Lozenski is treasonous, exposed by his own words. He should be charged, tried, and convicted of treason. Educators like him are teaching your children, while you sit by and do nothing. To the millions of Christians who don't vote, maybe your child is enrolled in a private Christian school. Maybe your conscience won't permit you to vote. Maybe you simply don't like Donald Trump. You might recall that Jesus said, "No one is good except God alone." Christian, will you hide your head in the sand and concede the destruction of this nation? Will you allow the Marxist ticket of Harris and Walz to complete Barack Obama's vision of a radically transformed America? Transformed from what to what? From a faith-centered constitutional republic to a faithless socialist utopia. The Democrat Party lost the heartland of America long ago. They've held on to power by forming a coalition of communists, sodomites, baby killers, and anti-Semites. They are the party of slavery and segregation. Their great society continued to enslave Black Americans in the oppression of generational poverty. Their idea of democracy is where they control everything. They want to enforce equity, which is not the same as equality. Equity is like grading on a curve, where the A student is marked down and the F student is marked up. Equal outcome or equity destroys incentive. Everyone but the oligarchs end up in the same place, as in Cuba and Venezuela, where the common people live in shared misery. Socialism has failed wherever it has been tried. It only works for those at the top. Democrats represent a globalist movement that seeks a world without borders, where power is concentrated in a central authority. National sovereignty and individual liberty will pass away. There are too many people in the world using too few resources. Every aspect of your life will be governed by the global elite. The UN recently approved the Summit for the Future, which spells out the implementation of this new world order. It eerily lays the foundation for the future seat of Antichrist. Israel and the United States stand in opposition to a worldwide communist Islamic jihad, which represents two factions of the Democrat Party. Tim Walz is a communist sympathizer. House Committee on Oversight and Accountability Chairman James Comer has launched an investigation into Walz's close ties to China. The Democrat Party is the existential threat, not Donald Trump.